All right, it is 5 o'clock. So welcome officially to our pre-AP AP info meeting tonight via Zoom. I'm going to be cognizant of your time as well. So we'll try to be in and out in about half an hour or so to cover all of the pertinent information for your students in preparing for taking potential honors or AP classes or continuing in our AP and honors program. So tonight I have a couple of our AP teachers with me that have joined us that will represent a couple of different departments. So there'll be some opportunities to ask questions at the end of the presentation. But if you have any questions that come up during the presentation of the information, feel free to use the chat feature, and you can always post a question in there, and we'll be talking about those questions either as we go along or at the end. And also, if you have any questions that come up later on, maybe after you've had a chance to talk about the information with your students, I will put my email address at the end of the presentation. So you'll be able to email me if you have any questions later on. So welcome everyone. My name is Christina Horan. I am the Dean of Academic Excellence at St. Bonaventure, and I'm also an AP teacher. And I've taught AP Calculus for 12 years now. And I also teach AP Seminar, which is part of our AP Capstone program. And I've taught that now for 4 years. So I have a variety of experiences in teaching and also taking AP classes. With me tonight, we have our AP English 12 teacher and AP Research teacher, Conan McAvoy. So if you have any questions on the English front, he'll be able to help answer those as well. And I believe we had Miss H popping in and out. She may also be here as well. And she is our APUSH and AP government teacher. So we'll have their representation as well. So let's go ahead and get started with, we have some expectations of our AP and honors students. So we'll go over those briefly. And then we'll talk about our current courses that we offer at St. Bonaventure, both in the honors and in the AP realm. We'll also briefly talk about the fees for the AP exams. That is only for AP courses, not for the honors. And we'll also talk about our qualifying exams that are happening later this month, and I'll explain that part of the process. And then we'll finish up with a Q&A at the end of the presentation. So when it comes to determining if you want to take an AP or honors class, or if you are comfortable with your students being in those AP and honors classes, we've put together kind of a recommendation list or the requirement list of our typical AP and honors students. And so it generally falls into kind of 4 categories. We have students who really have a personal desire to achieve, and they really want to study the subject matter of the courses that they are participating in. So they're generally motivated students, and they're really committed to their education, as well as to just general discovery of new content and new information. AP classes can be challenging, and so we want to make sure that our students are the type of student that will tackle any challenge head on. So they also have great time management skills. Attendance is very crucial as a part of that. And as much as every student has a little procrastinator in them, we hope that they're able to balance that procrastination out with making sure that they follow timelines and guidance from their teachers. We also focus on students that are self-motivated, because a lot of the AP and honors program requires inquisitive nature. And we want to make sure that students are willing to spend some time on maybe more difficult subjects. AP and honors doesn't just mean more work or extra reading. What it means is that they're delving deeper into their subject matter, and they're focusing on the depth of the information and the content that they are studying. And so sometimes that takes more time. It doesn't necessarily mean they're doing more problems or more work, but it does take a little bit more time, both inside the classroom and outside of the classroom. Our AP and honors students also have a strong work ethic, and they're willing to tackle anything that's thrown at them, no matter what, if it's a paper or a presentation or readings or preparatory coursework to be ready for the next discussion in class. They're really willing to push themselves. And sometimes this is a learned process. So that's why we have this structure of pre-AP and AP, because the honors classes, the pre-AP courses really help our students to be able to be prepared for that next level higher level AP course. Most of our AP courses do involve some component of summer coursework to help bridge that gap between the end of the school year and the beginning of the next school year. Most of this coursework is review in nature, or it's helping to prepare students to be ready to jump right into the subject matter in the fall. So we'll talk a little bit later on about some of the summer work and how you can find out more information about that if your students do decide to join an AP course. So currently in our school, we do offer a number of honors courses. These are our pre-AP courses across different disciplines. So we have 3 math honors courses available to students. We have 2 science honors courses, 2 English honors courses, 1 for history and 1 for Spanish. I've also included the current teachers of those courses just for reference in case you'd like to know more about what these courses entail. The best place to go for that information is for the current teachers. So if you have any questions about what to expect from English 9 honors, you can go talk to Mrs. Marler and have a chat with her and get to know more about what's in that course. Or if your student is interested in chemistry honors, you can go talk to Mrs. Valle about that. I did want to mention there are 2 of our courses that do qualify under the 5-point scale for the University of California. What this means is that these 2 courses do, just like our AP courses, receive 5 points for an A in terms of GPA calculation. So that is chemistry honors and algebra 2 trig honors. Both of those are approved for that additional point. This would be a component of the student's application to the UC schools when they calculate their weighted and unweighted GPAs. This is where the weighted part comes in because these are approved honors courses through the UC system. So these are our current classes. When it comes to our current AP classes, hold on just a second. There we go. Our current AP classes, we have 9 AP courses available at St. Bonaventure for a variety of grade levels. We do have some that are available to our sophomore students and others that are specific to 11 and 12th grade students. On the math front, we have AP Calculus, which is traditionally for seniors, though I have had some juniors in that course as well. On the science side, we have AP Biology and AP Computer Science Principles. The AP Computer Science Principles course is one that does not require any previous computer science knowledge. So a novice computer scientist can take that course. So that's important to note. That is one of our sophomore possible courses, or it's available to sophomores. We have 2 AP English courses, Language and Composition, which is taught to juniors, and Literature and Composition, which is taught to seniors. And then on the history side, we have AP United States History, also known as APUSH, and AP Government, both taught by Miss H. And then Capstone is a program that we offer that is unique to our, not to our school, but to very few schools that offer this Capstone program. It is a research-based program that is a sequence of 2 courses. So you'll see both AP Seminar and AP Research noted there. Both of those courses are the unit of AP Capstone put together. So Seminar is required for students that want to take AP Research. And typically students in Seminar are anywhere from sophomores to seniors. And in our AP Research course, they are juniors and seniors for the most part. And that program is a separate application process. So if your students are interested in our AP Capstone program and they're going to be a sophomore, junior, or senior next year, they'll want to contact me for the application. So they can send me an email, which will be posted on the last slide of our presentation, but that can also be found on our website as well. So these are our current courses and our current teachers. So if your students have any questions about any of these courses, the best place to go is to talk to these teachers and get to know them a little bit more and know what course content is covered in each of the classes. The second best place to go is to talk to students who are currently in the class. Oftentimes we get questions about how do students balance all of their workload between their courses and their extracurricular activities like sports and clubs. And really the best thing is to talk to students who are currently doing it, because it's very tricky for, every student is different. and every student manages a workload differently. And so it's really important to be able to just get an idea of what to expect from those current students, maybe balancing the same sports or balancing the same classes, because some students can handle 5 AP classes. We do have some students this year taking 5, but for other students, they're more comfortable with 1 or maybe 2 so that they can focus their efforts on all of the other things that they have going on. So we want to be cognizant of that when we talk to our students about scheduling for next year, because it depends on each student and really what they can handle personally. Okay, so I have a question for AP Bio. AP Bio is actually for generally seniors. Some juniors occasionally will take AP Bio, but it was required to take a CP or honors biology class first before taking AP Bio. So typically students will take biology as either a freshman or a sophomore, and then they'll take chemistry after that, and then they'll take AP Bio after chemistry. So typically, I think most of our students are seniors by the time that they take AP Biology. All right, so let's take a look at the AP requirements. So for students that decide to enroll in our AP courses, they are required to take the AP exam through the College Board in May of the year they take the course. So that is a cumulative exam that occurs at the end generally of their study of that particular subject matter. So of our 9 courses, all of the students are required to take an AP exam. However, that looks a little different for our capstone students, as well as for our computer science principal students. Their exam takes a little bit different of a structure, but it is still a test that they have to take. These exams take place in the first 2 weeks of May each year. And the fees do fluctuate from year to year. Those are set by the College Board, so we don't have a lot of control over those amounts. However, they haven't really increased substantially if you take into account inflation and all of the other components. Although it sounds like a lot of money comparatively to the price of a college course, these are substantially lower. So for all of our AP courses, with the exception of capstone, the fee per exam is $96. The capstone courses are slightly more expensive because they do allow for additional research components that the College Board provides to our classes. And so those are $144 each. However, the $144 is each year spread over 2 years. So it's $144 for 1 year and $144 for the next year. I can't promise that these are going to stay the same since they are set by the College Board, but they'll usually be somewhere in this range of cost for each of those capstone courses. And this is per class. So if your student does take more than one AP course, they will have to pay the appropriate amount for each of those courses. This is usually collected in the spring, so we're getting close to the point where we'll be collecting the AP fees for this year's administration. Let's see, I have a question about what classes do capstone classes generally replace in a student's schedule? Great question. It depends upon the age level of the student, the grade level. So oftentimes our students will not be taking a Spanish course, or they will have already finished their Spanish requirement for graduation. So most of my junior and senior students have already finished 3 years of Spanish. Whether they took that over the summer or through us, or they started in Spanish too. So oftentimes it replaces that, or it replaces an elective course, such as like psychology or art. It replaces those types of courses as well. So oftentimes our capstone students will be taking summer courses so that they're able to free up that space in their schedule. So now that we've talked a little bit about the fees, an important piece of preparing our students to be successful in AP and honors courses is the qualifying exam. The qualifying exam is not required of all courses, so this is really important information dependent upon what courses your student may be interested in taking. So Qualifying exams are exams that we administer to students who are thinking about taking each of these classes. And it helps us to determine where students are at. It helps us to use one piece of data to help decide if students are ready for each of those courses. It is not the end all be all. It is a piece of the data that we use to analyze and determine if students are ready. So it should not be considered a very stressful exam. It should not be considered something that a student has to prepare for. It is not something that they need to study for. It's not like the PSAT or the SAT or something like that. So those qualifying exams will be occurring during the last week of March. They begin March 28th and end April 1st. They're available any day after school. So depending upon what courses your student is interested in taking, you can decide which days are most convenient for you and your student based on their schedule or based on when you can pick them up. All of these classes will be, or all of these exams will be offered after school. And the check-in location is room 404, which is Mr. McAvoy's room. And they'll check in there and let him know which test they're planning on taking, and we'll get them structured from there and set up. Most of the time, these tests take less than an hour to take. They'll probably take anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes generally. So block days are a great opportunity to take these tests because they'll still be able to be finished by about 3 o'clock. So it shouldn't impact too many other extracurricular after school type activities. Now, in terms of which courses a student may need to take a qualifying exam for, I've broken that up into kind of 2 categories. So in some of our courses, a qualifier is required of all applicants. So that would be something like calculus, whether AP calculus or CP calculus. We do require students to take a qualifying exam. And then also for our Algebra 2 Trig honors course. The same is true for Chem honors, but I do want to note that we use the same qualifier for Chem honors and Algebra 2 Trig. So a student doesn't have to take 2 separate tests. They take 1 test for both classes. And I share that information with Mrs. Valle, and she shares that with me. So we share that qualifier. So that should hopefully help alleviate some of the stress as well as the time commitment required by the qualifying exams. All students interested in taking English 10 honors will be required to take a qualifier, as well as Spanish honors. So that covers the required ones. So if your student is interested in calculus, Algebra 2 Trig, chemistry honors, English 10 honors, or Spanish honors, they'll need to take a qualifying exam, regardless of the current class that they are in, and regardless of the grade they are currently getting in that class. On the other side, there's a little bit more detail involved in some of our other courses. In English and history, specifically English 11 AP, 12 AP, AP United States History, and AP Government, there are 2 possibilities. If a student is currently in an honors or AP course for that subject matter, and the teacher recommends them to move on to the next level, they do not need to complete a qualifying exam. They are good to go as long as they have teacher recommendation and they are currently in the AP or honors class that precedes the one they are planning on taking. If a student, though, is in an AP or honors class, but the teacher does not currently recommend them to move on to the next level, they will need to take a qualifier in order to move on to that next level. So the reason that we are providing this alternative is that sometimes students feel like they can demonstrate their knowledge through the process of the qualifying exam so that they're able to prove that maybe they have the potential to succeed in the next level course. A qualifier will also be required for students that are currently in the CP level preceding course and have their teacher recommendation. So for instance, let's say that a student is currently in English 10 CP. If they're currently in the CP English 10 course, but their English 10 teacher recommends them to move on to AP English, they would need to take the qualifying exam. In comparison, if we had a student in English 10 honors who was not recommended by their teacher to move on, they would also need to take the qualifying exam. For a third possibility, if a student is currently in English 10 honors and their teacher recommends them to move on, they do not need to take a qualifying exam. So there's a little bit more nuance when it comes to these courses. So this is important to discuss with your student and also important for students to discuss with their teachers. You'll need to make sure you talk to your current teacher about whether or not they recommend you to move on to the next course and why, because that will help you to decide whether or not that's the right course for you to take next year. There's also a shared qualifying exam for the AP 11 English course and the APUSH course. So that's another one that overlaps. If students are interested in taking APUSH and English 11, they can take one exam that will cover both of those, and those two teachers will communicate on those results. So the hope is that this overlap will help alleviate some of the requirements so that a student doesn't have to take a test every single day, but instead can consolidate those into some smaller groups. So just to reiterate on the qualifying exams, they're not required for all the courses. They're only required for the courses on the left side of your screen, and they are potentially required for the courses on the right side of your screen. If you have any questions about the qualifying exams, please be sure to ask about that so that we can make sure to get those questions answered. And you can also, if something comes up later on, you can email us as well. I'll have that information on the last slide. So in case a question comes up later after you've had a chance to think about it, we'll be able to help you with that information. So just to remind you on the dates, the qualifying exams will take place the last week of March in room 404, and they are after school. They'll start about 10 minutes after school ends on each of those days. Okay, so that brings us to the next steps. What do we need to do next? Now, the first step is to access the pre-AP AP application form. You'll find that on the SBHS website. I sent a link to this in the email that got you to this Zoom meeting, but you'll also find it if you just go to our school webpage. And from the school webpage, you will be able to access, there we go, the AP and Honors courses. You'll find that in the Academics tab under AP Honors courses. And here you'll have additional information, some of which we talked about tonight. So there's information about our AP courses, as well as the expectations that we discussed at the beginning, and then a list of our courses. So you'll find those by subject matter. And if you keep going, we have 4 awesome previous AP students that have given some information about what AP meant to them, as well as their experiences in AP courses and how that influenced their college experiences as well. So we have 4 student testimonials there. And then at the bottom is the pre-AP AP application. So if you click on there, it will take you to the application form. That application form, let me jump back to where we were. That application form will take you to the content that you need for the all of the honors and AP classes that you may potentially be interested in taking for next year. Hold on just a second. If you have any questions, feel free to put those into the chat box, but I'll also be asking for questions in I'll be asking for questions in just a moment. So we'll be able to go over those in just a second. There we go. All right. So back to the next steps. Application is step 1. So access that application. It does have 2 pages. So when you print it, make sure that you print both pages of the application. And there will be a box for each potential course that you may be interested in taking. So if you have multiple courses that you plan to take next year, be sure to look at each box. They're organized by department. So you'll find all the English courses first, and then that's followed by some of the math courses on the first page. And then on the second page, you'll find all of the rest of the courses. Be sure to have a conversation with your current teacher about what they'd recommend for you to take next year. You can gain a lot of insight from this if you have this conversation with your teachers, because they might be able to give you some suggestions on how you can improve on your current coursework. Teacher signatures will be required on this part, so be sure to take care of that part. The next step, plan on taking any of the qualifying exams that you might be required to do. So based on that information that we just talked about, which courses do you plan to take and which ones need qualifying exams? Complete the qualifiers during the last week of March by coming to room 404 and taking those after school. Then when your counselors come around to the classes to sign you up for classes for next year, be sure to indicate which AP and honors courses you're interested in taking. Just because you indicate it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be taking that course, because we do take into account all of the information from the teacher recommendations to the qualifying exams to make that decision. So just taking a qualifier doesn't necessarily mean that you're enrolled in the course, and signing up for the course doesn't necessarily mean you're enrolled in the course either. But be sure to go through all of these steps to indicate your interest in taking the class. And then finally, once rosters are decided and we have everybody placed in courses towards the end of the school year, you'll get communications from each of the instructors of each of the courses that you've signed up for. So if you've been admitted into AP English, you'll get an email from the AP English teacher indicating what the expectations are moving forward. So they'll introduce themselves, let you know what the summer homework will be, and what the requirements are for the class moving forward. So you will get separate communications from each of those teachers. Some of them require Google Classrooms, some of them require you to do other activities. And so you'll want to be sure to check your email regularly towards the end of the school year so that you get that email communication and you know what the next step is in the process. All right. So I want to thank all of you for joining us for this session. It's just about 5:30. If you have any questions, I know I have a couple waiting for me in the chat, so I'm going to take a look at those right now. If you have any other questions, please feel free to throw those in the chat, or if you'd like to ask them individually, I will be here for a few minutes if you have any of those questions. Otherwise, I put my email address at the bottom of this slide, as well as Mrs. Valle's email address. She is the Dean of Student Learning and can help assist with placement as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact either of us if you have any concerns about qualifiers or questions that you'd like to have answered so that you know what to expect. All right, I have a question about how do incoming freshmen sign up for honors? Awesome. So they'll sign up at the registration nights, which are Monday and Tuesday of next week. But if you're unable to make the registration night, you'll have a separate registration appointment. And at that point in time, you'll sign up for honors classes. So we don't require any qualifiers of our incoming freshmen for honors, but there'll be a conversation about that. Typically, students that are admitted as honors at entrance will be our honors students in those courses. So depending upon the information you received about admissions, that would indicate accessibility to honors. Okay, next question. Are these classes transferable for college credit, or are these just enrichment for college acceptance? Okay, so all AP courses go through a rigorous process of approval through the College Board. Many colleges will accept college credit for those courses depending upon the AP score attained by the student and the requirements of each individual college. So we cannot guarantee that these will be college transferable courses because it's dependent upon each college and each student's major. So my suggestion to you on that one would be to take a look at the College Board website. They have a list of which courses and what the requirements are for each school. You can also look at each different department on a college's website to see what their requirements are. It really is subject specific, but typically our students do very well on the AP exams and therefore tend to earn college credit on a lot of their AP courses. They do look great on college acceptances or in terms of college applications. So there's definitely a positive on that as well. Let's see. So the qualifying exams are for the entire week of March 28th through April 1st. You don't have to sign up for a particular day. You can just show up and let Mr. McAvoy know which course you need to take an exam for. So there's not a scheduled day for like each test. It's available for the entire week. So after school, every day, all 5 days, there will be an opportunity to take any of those qualifying exams. And I will take a look at the calendar to make sure that information is reflected on the school calendar as well. All right, do we have any other questions? I think I've got all the ones in the chat here. Oh, let's see. Okay. If a teacher recommended a student, those listed courses still need the exam. Yes, the listed courses still require the exam regardless of whether or not a teacher recommended a student. So if I go back to that slide. So for instance, for the case of Chem Honors, if a student is recommended for Chem Honors, they will still need to take the qualifying exam. And the same is true for like English 10 honors or for calculus. So regardless of teacher recommendation, they'll still fill out the application form, but the student would still need to sit for the qualifying exam. All right. I think we've got all of them there. So I'm going to remind you at the end. I'll go back to my email address in case anyone needs to write it down. Let's see, one more question. When would the payment need to be made? Okay, payment is in the spring of the AP course. So before the AP exam is taken. Qualifying exams do not require any payment. They're internal exams that we use within our school only. They're school exams. So no payment is required until about March, April or so of the year that the student intends to take the exam. So for instance, for this year, we'll be asking for payment shortly here for students who plan to take the AP exams this May. So they're already in the AP courses. They've already completed the first semester of the AP courses. So we don't ask for payment until we get closer to the exam, just a couple months ahead of that. We just wanted to make sure everyone knew what the cost was that is involved with the AP exams. So that way you can plan accordingly. And you can also be aware of upcoming costs towards the end of the year. All right. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate having your support here for your students. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or Mrs. Valle, and we'd be happy to help you. All right. I've got all the questions. All right. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. Have a good night.